So spring is in the books. Good night. Nobody got hurt. Some good, some bad, some ugly. I thought the players competed well. Held Surratt and Fisher, who both kind of dinged up their knees last practice, but nothing that will, it's not a long-term thing. And like I told the players, when we come back in the fall, it's on, it's real, and we need our good players to play good every single day, every single rep, every single drill. Spring ball's over. So we'll get out what we put in. We got a chance to be as good as we want to be, and we just got to keep improving. We got to have a great summer, great fall camp, etc. So we got a long way to go. We're not there yet, but you can see who we got 6 or 7 guys that have potential to be good team leaders. Got good players out there. We need depth in some areas. You'll probably ask me which ones. I'm not going to necessarily point those out. I'll let you figure it out on your own. But it was good competition. Good spring.
Matt, on your left in this.
Coach, Kalen Black's a guy that's been with you for a while. Did some really good things out there tonight. Just your thoughts on how he's done in spring, how he's kind of progressed since you first got him from now.
Yeah, high energy guy. He's always started camp real well early in the year. Just staying healthy has kind of been his deal. He's got good speed. He's got a lot of juice, and he's been with us a long time. He's a Virginia Tech commit out of high school, and hurt an ankle, and I don't know what happened, but he ended up with us at KU.
This, then Rabbi.
Yeah, can you compare where you are coming out of spring today versus a year ago? Anything that you feel better about than you did last year at this time, or anything that stands out from this spring camp versus last year? Which one?
Yeah, that's a hard question. What I'll say about this team is we have a lot of the pieces that we need. If those pieces play to their full potential consistently, day in, day out, play in, play out, right? Spring sometimes you don't tackle till this day here, and you're managing guys, sort of making sure the key ones, don't get dinged up or injured in spring ball, and but in fall you got to cut them loose. There's some positions probably where we might look a little stronger right now, I don't think there's a particular area we're extremely deficient.
Rabbi in front to Todd.
Yeah, Coach, on Fernando, what are maybe 2 or 3 things you felt that he really got the most out of, or progressed in the most areas during the spring here with you?
Yeah, I thought he had a really good last week. Now, I'm not, I haven't watched tonight's film, okay, so I'm going to take tonight out of the mix. But I thought his last 3 practices, one of which was a scrimmage, he made major strides. And it really started to click. And I felt really good before the scrimmage where we were there with him. And I think Alberto had a good spring too.
Todd and Seth.
Elijah Hardy once again demonstrated his opportunism tonight. He's, I'm sure, going to get more of a chance to play this year than he did last year. How did you see him grow during the spring, and obviously what does he add to your defense?
Well, about halfway through the season, he was the starter in our trio package, which is 3 linebacker defense to 12 personnel, 2 tight end sets. So really, he was a starter the last half of the season. He's been a starter all spring. And he, just like Fernando, his last week of spring was really, really good. And that's how we need him to play when he comes back in the fall. He got a lot of talent.
Seth and Sam.
I know, in the past, we kind of talked about how EJ has had trouble staying on the field for you for extended periods of time. How was he in that aspect, I guess, this spring? How was he able to progress this spring? And I guess, where do you see him being able to come into, what position do you see him coming into fall camp for you guys?
Yeah, well, right now, we have 3 veteran receivers that have done it on Saturday at the P4 level. Surratt, Cooper, and EJ. And they all took turns playing in the slot when Mekhi Jackson tweaked his hamstring before practice 4, and their return. And then when we lost our Michigan guy to the non-contact knee, Tyler Morris, and Becker made progress. And I also thought that the freshman, Bond, made progress. And we got Chandler coming in. So I'm counting on Jackson coming back, which will help our depth. And EJ made plays all spring long. And with EJ, it's not having the mental lapse here and there, missed assignment here and there, that kind of thing. But I'm counting on him having a huge year for us. You know, he's a big target with great body control, excellent ball skills, and he's a threat.
Sam on your left and Zach B.
Coach, you mentioned LeBron Bond is one of the young guys who stood out. What other guys on defense and secondary, I think Byron Baldwin made a nice play, and then a couple of the younger receivers too. Which freshmen stood out to you tonight?
Well, you know, I think all the freshmen have a long way to go. We have a lot of them, and when you compare the freshmen, when you've been used to like the COVID extra year guys, for instance, and you're in the portal, and you're coaching 25, 24, 23-year-old kids, you forget what coaching 17, 18-year-old kids is like, especially ones that come in and enroll in school in January, right, in the NIL era. So we've got some talented guys. They'll be good players at this level, but we got a lot of them got to grow up. But I thought Bond gave us a really good effort, practice in, practice out, and certainly Byron Baldwin. You know, he flies around. He's got a lot of talent, likes contact, good ball skills. You know, there's others too. But you know, freshmen, generally speaking, when they come in and go through spring ball, it's very developmental for them, and they're a lot better when they come back in August.
Zach B on your right and Daniel.
Coach, you talked about Elijah Hardy, but what have you seen from the linebackers as a whole this spring?
Well, you know, we all know what Fish is and Hardy, and Isaiah Jones is a veteran and a savvy guy, can play two positions. And after that, we got to develop some more depth.
Daniel in front and Jim.
Slot receiver spot, when you're moving guys outside to in, what are some of the challenges there?
Just learning their assignment, you know, splits, little things like that. But really, most guys should be able to play on the left side, right side, and in the slot. You know, even the guys that have never lined up at what we call H in the slot have played in the slot because in season we'll move guys around. You know, who do we think runs this route the best or can get open deep on this route the best? So, you know, it's not that complicated that they can't learn. The only one that didn't work in the slot was Charlie Becker.
Jim on your right, last one.
Kurt, especially for spring, the offense looked pretty sharp. All three quarterbacks looked good. You had a number of guys that made pop plays. With Kalen Black getting a great run, Roman Henby, some great plays, as well as BB and Omar Cooper. Do you feel like you've got more individual players that can make plays this year on their own?
Well, either we got more playmakers on offense or we don't have very good tacklers on defense. It's one or the other.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regular Gatorade today.
Then start us off with Carter.
Hair looks good? Yeah?
Yeah, really.
Perfect.
Really
Let's get rolling, yeah?
Go, Carter.
Put mine
I was just going to ask him one.
Cart, what do you think coming out of spring for you guys, whether it's the offense or offensive line or team in general, is different from this time last year?
I think we've established the run game a little earlier. You know, our offensive line is doing really well, and I think the running backs are hitting the holes pretty well as well. I think Fernando is getting comfortable in the pocket too. So as long as we keep hitting those coaching points, I think we're going to be rolling in the fall.
Matt on your left and Zach B.
Carter, I know it might not be this way in the fall, but at left guard, we've had some member guys this spring working next to you, Demola, and then I know Lee probably times been at left guard. Just your thoughts on how they progressed since they came in last year and you know, where they're at this point.
Yeah, you know, they're young guys. There's still a couple of playbook things that need to get down, but I think they're very physical and they're very capable of playing the position. So, you know, it was great for me to see a couple of different guys there. Excited to see when Drew gets back, but I think Demola was a really good placement in there, and I think he's going to do good things for us once he's ready.
Zach on your right and Joe.
Carter, the running backs, what have you seen from that room? It's a new look room. What have you seen from this so far this spring?
Yeah, I like Hemby. Hemby's a lot of fun to block for. He gives us a lot of options. He's very fluid, and man, KB just loves running through a dude, and I love watching him do it. So I think they're very physical. A couple of pass protection things that need cleaned up, but other than that, I think it's really solid this year.
Joe up top on your right.
Carter, what have you noticed Pat Coogan adjusting to the system since transferring over?
He's very comfortable with calls now. He understands the offense, and I think he's very comfortable, at the center spot. And him and Fernando are getting very, they're communicating much better than they did at the start. So I think with them getting their relationship on top of it, then I think he's gotten very comfortable at the spot.
Pete, up top on your left and center.
Carter, evaluate how you thought your spring went. How you played, what you need to improve on.
Yeah, there were a couple of spots, if I'm being honest, that I may have regressed at, and there's definitely some things that I need to clean up this offseason. Overall, great competition still. We're very lucky to have Mikhail back and Aiden back to give us all those very tough looks that Big Ten defenses provide. So. I just got to keep working with those guys, and as long as I stick with my coaching points and I hammer it out with Bostad in the meeting room and get my stuff done on the field, I'm going to keep progressing, and hopefully I'll be the best player I can be.
Seth, in front, last one.
Carter, the offensive line as a whole, just where you guys are now compared to where you were at this time last year, just where would you say you guys are now, like heading into the summer?
I'd say we're much closer. At the same time last year, as a culture-wise, I think we were very close. And I think we're about at the same level we were last year. So, I expect really good things. We're going to keep bonding, and we're going to keep our heads in the film room and keep hitting the weights together, and everything's going to be okay. I think we have a great group. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, thanks, Carter.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Being right front. Daniel and Sammy.
Reality checks is what you called spring when you came in here last month. Do you feel like that happened, I guess?
Yeah, it's definitely come a long way. Just little details within the defense and how these young guys used to play. See ball, go get ball. But it's changed here. You got to take a lot more advanced steps to get to the ball. So that, and then personality-wise, a lot of reality checks happened. So I think a lot of freshmen and the young guys got humbled. And from then on, they kind of put their heads down and started to work. And, you saw that progress every single day. So it was the best for them. And, I think it was a really good thing to happen. And they've gotten a lot better.
Sammy on your left and Todd.
Aiden Elijah is a guy who's played a lot during his freshman year, made a big play tonight. How have you seen him grow over this spring and build on what he did last year?
First of all, the ball just finds that dude. I don't know how he does it. I don't know what he does, but the ball is always in his hands. So that's a good thing to have at linebacker. But throughout the entire spring, you saw him take a step every single day. Whether that's beating a block, getting more surface area on tackles. He did something every single day to get better, and I think he showed it a lot tonight. A TFL, stuffing guys when it comes downhill on the pick six. So I was really proud of his development. And I think this summer it's really just going to skyrocket, and by August 30th he'll be ready to go.
Todd and Jim.
Aiden, you were in the rare position of observing tonight. What's your role when you do that, and what did you see from maybe a different perspective than you're used to being in since you're on the field most of the time?
Yeah, it pushes you to be in an uncomfortable position. But I think with the role that I have here as being a leader, that's when I can show it the most. It's easy for me to go out there, I'm going to make an explosive play, everybody will rally around you. What are you going to do when you can't be the center of everybody? So my biggest thing was make sure I'm supportive. I'm not taking my eyes off anything, make sure I'm watching linebackers play. Because at the end of the day, they're going to run off the field. They're going to ask me what happened, how can I improve this. So I want to make sure I'm there to help them, let them see it how I see it, and make sure I'm not taking any plays off mentally so I can help them sharpen their game.
Jim on your right, then Niz.
Aiden, you guys had a tremendous top unit defense last year, and again this year as well. The offense much improved. What has playing against a better offensive line, possibly even a better offense with more skilled players, done to help you guys and made it more difficult for you, but makes you better at the end?
Oh, it's been great. First of all, just speaking of where we were last year compared to now, when you look at last spring, a lot of it was implementing a new system, a new culture, new coaches, new language, verbiage, everything. We're much further now. Everybody's kind of comfortable with their assignments. Obviously, you still have some nicks and knacks in it, but now I'm seeing Carter Smith every single day. I'm seeing Pat Coogan. I'm seeing the tight ends. I'm seeing really high-level players play confidently and fast, and that's only going to make me better and the whole defense. So when you have guys that are adapted to the system, everybody's comfortable and familiar, you're playing a lot faster, and it's like a game every single day when we go out there. So we've gotten a lot better this spring.
Knees on your left, now we wrap this up.
Yeah, how do you mentioned how much success last year you guys had with movement up front stunts and you're replacing a lot of the interior. How do you kind of help with that? And I mean, are you able to kind of, you see things, kind of get the new defensive tackles, kind of help them along and get everything right up front as well?
Yeah. First, just me and Mikhail talk about it. We came in and we will sit down and watch a game, and he's just asking me and picking my brain like, how do I know what's coming from an offense? How do I know their blocking scheme? What lineman's going to travel to the second level or not? So by doing that, I can pass it to Mikhail. He's passing it to the D-line room. I'm getting it to linebackers. So everybody's way more knowledgeable when it comes to just the game and the scheme side of things with football. So that's the first thing, and then just getting them comfortable with the checks I make, the verbiage I use, all those little things end up amounting to those big things that will happen on game day. So just spend a lot of time and getting those reps is the most valuable thing.
Seth, wrap it up.
I know there's no way to truly replicate the amount of time that you spent lining up alongside Jalen in the defense, but I guess what's your comfort level lining up with Elijah or Isaiah? Just your comfort level lining up alongside those guys within the defense.
I'm extremely comfortable lining up with anybody Coach Haynes puts next to me. We're going through the film room every single day together. We're working out together, so we're getting to know each other every single day. Obviously with Jaywalk, I could have looked at him, he looked at me, we knew what we were doing, but I found myself doing that a little bit more with Isaiah and Rowe throughout this spring, and just growing and getting to that level. But I'm really comfortable, and I'm really excited to see how they keep developing and when it comes to in the fall.
All right, thanks, Aiden.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Matt,
A lot was made of you guys had Andy and Knighton out of the portal. I think Jamari's had a pretty good spring. I guess, how much do you think those guys coming in maybe have kind of motivated him and maybe put a little chip on his shoulder this spring to kind of go out and prove himself?
Yeah.
And how has he done that?
Yeah, I think it definitely motivated him, and he has done that. He came a long way since the beginning of the spring. I feel like he's gonna have a great year for us this year. He came a long way. He made a lot of progress.
Pete on your left and Zach Pete.
Yeah, D'Angelo over here. What's the key this summer defensively for you guys to come together?
I mean, more of getting the new guys to learn the scheme, get them some reps in the game, just so they can know the scheme in and out. Because new guys, it's kind of hard to learn new things, but with more reps, it builds repetition, and they'll get the hang of it.
Zach, be on your right to Seth.
From two true freshmen, Byron Baldwin and Deontay Stewart, what have you seen from them so far this spring?
Those guys, they bring a lot of energy every day. Sometimes we have to tone them down a little bit, like hitting in practice and stuff like that. But those guys are learning. They're learning quickly. They came in willing to learn, so I like those guys. I think they'll help us some type of way this year.
Seth on your left and Niz.
From your perspective, lining up against him, what strides have you seen Omar Cooper make this spring, and just how good of a player can he become?
I mean, the sky's the limit for him. Definitely, we've been going back and forth this spring. He definitely came a long way from last year. I've seen some progress from him. I think he's going to have a big year this year as well.
Niz on your left and Daniel.
Kind of a similar question, but about Fernando Mendoza, when you're going against him in practice, what are your takeaways from him and maybe some of the differences you've seen versus Kurt Schwartz?
I mean, some of the differences I see is just how mobile he is, and he scrambles to throw. He's not scrambling to run too, so that's something you see in a quarterback that you really don't see. But I think he's special in my eyes. I've seen a lot of good things from him. He has a strong arm. And just his mobility is what separates him, in my opinion.
Daniel in front, last one.
On Rylan, what's kind of stood out to you on him?
Just his willingness to learn. I'm pretty sure he comes in here late night trying to just learning from Coach Ojon. He meets with Coach Ojon like twice a day. So just his willingness to learn from his mistakes and just his willingness to learn. That's really what I see from him.
All right, thanks, D'Angelo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. From day one of spring to the final day of spring, where do you feel like you've made the most progress, and where do you feel like the offensive line is making the most progress?
I think just that overall gelling with my teammates, you know, coming into a new system, a new brotherhood, a new locker room. And for me, honestly, like I didn't have that much time until spring ball. So these past 4 weeks or 5 weeks have been huge for me to just gel with my teammates and get to know each other better. And obviously playing next to each other is one way to speed up that process, and it's been a great process. And then just the O-line, I think we've taken strides in every aspect of the game, but there's plenty of room to work, and that's very exciting come the summer and come the fall because we got plenty to work on for sure.
Sammy on your left and Niz.
Pat, you went against this defensive line in December. You went against it tonight again. What differences do you see? What guys do you think could play a key role on that defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, overall super talented, like talented across the board. Obviously, you know, you got Mikhail who's going to make plays. He's a playmaker, right? Like he's going to wreck offenses, and offenses are going to have to solely game plan around him. And then on inside, just, you know, Wheeler and Reek, just really tough, hard-nosed football players that are going to play really important snaps for us and going to make plays in backfields. So really excited, and going against those guys every single day has definitely made me a better player as well.
Niz on your left and Matt.
Yeah, Pat Carter was in here and said, you know, he felt from last year, this year, the run game was really more advanced. And for you, throughout your career as an offensive lineman, you've been able to kind of like accurately see when you go through spring or go through, you know, an off-season, how good a run this game's going to be. Do you get that sense? And what have you seen from this run game so far?
Yeah, I mean, to answer the last part of that question, it's an explosive run game, which is super exciting. You know, we can come at you with the ground and pound, but then, like we saw tonight, we can also pop a few for big chunk plays. So that was really exciting to see, and that was a process that we had to build throughout the spring, because obviously on day one, day two, day three, you might not get those huge chunks. You might just be a little bit off on certain things, but as you go through the spring, that's where, you know, 11 for 11 really start putting it all together. And honestly, you can't really gauge run games based on, because it's a whole different system, new players. So no, but I'm overall super excited about the process we made and where we're headed, because it's going to be a great run game for sure.
Matt on your left and Seth.
And obviously, you know, notoriety for the, you know, your pregame speeches and being a leader. I know you're new here, but being in the center, you're kind of, whether you like it or not, have to kind of be a leader because you're the quarterback of that line. How comfortable are you kind of getting into that role, you know, like you said, with a bunch of new teammates? I mean, are you getting more comfortable? You still, there's some things that, you know, that you have to kind of feel more at ease with before you can kind of be yourself?
I mean, maybe the first couple weeks it was just like, you know, learning where to take a left and where to take a right around here, and, you know, learning the guys and learning names and faces and stuff like that. But honestly, it was a very natural process, getting comfortable with everyone and gelling with everyone. And yeah, the center position definitely calls for a guy that is vocal and has great communication and those leadership traits. And I feel like I fit that bill to a T. So excited for another full season at it, and excited to just continue this journey with these guys. And but no, it's been super comfortable here, and I feel like I can be myself every day. It's great.
Seth in front, and then Joe, last one.
Between tonight and the other scrimmages, the spring game-like situations, how much poise have you seen in Fernando in leading the offense, you know, marching downfield, leading these drives, calling the shots? Just how much poise and composure have you seen from him?
Yeah, a ton of poise, honestly, and it's been great. Like, you know, huddling up, and he makes sure he looks people in the eyes, which sounds like it's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal. And it's good to just have that commander right there, and you know you're comfortable with him, and he's going to make plays, and so he's
taken huge steps throughout the spring, and he's a baller, man. Like I said the last time I was up here, just knows how to make plays, and super excited to see where we go underneath him through the summer and fall.
Joe up top on the right, last one.
Yeah, Pat, with spring ball wrapping up, what would you say is the identity of this offensive line?
You know, I think that's a question that won't be answered until week 1. And I think that's a good thing because there's so much growth that we have to go. But we've taken tremendous strides in, like I said, every aspect of the game. But I can definitely tell you it's an offensive line that's going to, you know, give everything they got to make sure this offense is successful and give everything they got to hold up the standard and play hard football, tough physical dudes, and make sure we pop those explosive plays that our offense is capable of.
All right, thanks, Pat.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.